All right, welcome, fuckers, to the Trailer Park Boys Fan Federation podcast. My name is Morgan Rector.
Hey, fuckers, you know how this is. It's me, Raymond Hazen, a.k.a. Scoob Dad Leahy, a.k.a. Sure You Can Hold It, a.k.a. No Girl, I'm not a doctor, but I'll take a look.
Oh, yeah, you got like a new title every week now.
Yeah, a little something, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, did you know?
How you doing, buddy?
Did you know that you can have the title of doctor? You don't have to go to medical school. You can just pay for it. You just fill out a form or something with the government. Yeah, you can be Dr. Raymond Hazen.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can fill out. You can pay to get the doctor title. There's that thing we talked about a while ago where, like, I think it's Scotland. You can buy a 1 foot square plot over there, and they'll plant a tree in it. But if you own a square foot of Scottish land, you get the title of Lord or Lady. So you can get the title of Lord or Lady for basically having a tree planted in Scotland.
The trick is convincing everybody you know to call you Lord, because they might not be quite so willing to do that. But especially women, right? Imagine trying to convince a girlfriend to call you Lord Raymond.
Oh,
I mean, it's Lord Raymond.
Especially now in the toxic masculinity era where everything's toxic masculinity. Hey, girl, you need to call me Lord from now on.
Oh, I'll show you toxic. From now on, you're calling me Lord, Morgan. How about that? How do you like that map?
As my grandfather used to say, God rest him, that would go over like a fart in church.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. But on the other hand, you know what? Those caveman and Neanderthal guy relationships seem to run so smooth, don't they? It just doesn't. The woman never gets any attitude. So some guys have that figure. They're just like, maybe it's a relationship where like the guy doesn't love the girl as much as she loves him. Maybe that's the case.
Well, I mean, in caveman days, there was only one pickup line. It was the club to the back of the head.
Yeah.
It worked every time, you know? It was 100% success rate with that pickup line.
Well, maybe the modern equivalent is the girl of no self-esteem, and you, metaphorically speaking, you're clubbing her over the head by making her feel like she has no alternative. Maybe that's the new approach to it. One of those pimp relationships.
Oh, man. Hey, those relationships are crazy, dude. I can remember when I lived in the culinary. I don't know if I told you about it. I might have. But when I was going to culinary school back in the early 2000s down in San Francisco, like, late at night, you could hear them out the window, like, bitch, ho, get over here. Where's my money? I own all of you. Like, it's just like, damn, dude. Pimps be crazy. Pimps be crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh. It's not like, you know, but it's like, damn, dude.
You know, it's a great source of relationship advice. Have you ever checked out the stand-up comedy of Patrice O'Neal?
I don't know.
He was really brilliant. He was a good stand-up comedian, but it was also really great in interviews and shit. Like, he was on Opie and Anthony quite a bit, like guest on their show. And he also had like a show on satellite radio called Black Phillip.
Yeah. Okay, I've seen this guy before. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 10 episodes on it. They're all on YouTube. They're pretty long too. They're like 2 to 3 hours long. It's just him ripping, giving his opinions on. He originally wanted to call the show "Bitch Management," so it was his opinions on how to deal with women. Yeah, they wouldn't. Can you imagine they wouldn't let him call it that? See, if he had a podcast, he might have gotten that. But
I mean, a few years ago, you know, you could probably get away with stuff like that. I don't see anything going over like that nowadays. Definitely not.
But he said to his girlfriend one day, he said, here's my list of priorities. Number 1's my career, and then number 2 is like my mother. And she was like 4th or 5th down the list. He actually laid it all on the line, and she never left him. So I don't know. Dudes who do that to women, they don't get dumped. I don't know. It sounds counterintuitive. But
you gotta have just the right kind of just enough asshole. It's like you want to put your woman on a pedestal, but yet make her feel subconscious about it at the same time. That way, that they don't think they're too good for you, and they'll stay. If you put too much of a pedestal on them, they think they're too good, and then they leave. Or if you're too much of an asshole, then they know they deserve better, and they'll leave. So you got to be just the right. It's kind of like I say, like ruling with children. You want to be like an iron fist in a soft glove. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. You want to put your woman on a pedestal, but yet knock it out from under her at the same time is the best way to do it, and then they'll stay forever.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. I once knew a woman whose ex-boyfriend laid it on the line, saying basically there was a hierarchy of females in his life. Number one on the top of all the others was his daughter, and then number two was his mother, and then she was number three. And she didn't leave when she found out she was third down the line. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll tell you right now, dude. Any girlfriend I got, or get in the future, like, I'm sorry, you might be important, and trust me, I got plenty of room on my list. But like both my grandmas, if they're still around, because they both are right now, and then I got my mom, and then I got several nieces out there, whether blood or not, that still will be higher up on the food chain. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you
I'm sorry.
Also have your son. He's pretty
well. Yeah, my son, but he's not a girl. I guess it was in the hierarchy of women, But if you want to add all people, I'll tell you right now, I got buddies that would be higher up on the list. Like, I'm sorry, like these are people that I've known for, years and years and years, And I mean, shit, we got a nice professional relationship going on, Morgan, and it's flourishing and blossoming beautifully, I might say. So I'd probably put you higher on a list at the moment. I've known you longer. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, a woman who doesn't want you to have friends, even guy friends,
it's insane. It's insane. You have to have friends. Yeah, you have to have friends. Both people have to have friends.
I understand if she doesn't want you hanging out with chicks, especially alone in their place. I can understand them getting jealous about that, but they don't even want you to spend time with your guy friends. That's crossing a line,
Yeah, that's insane. But then again, here's my overall. If you're in a relationship where you can't trust the other person around the opposite sex, then it's not the right person to be with. Like, because I've been in those relationships where I can't trust them, and I've been in relationships where they feel like they can't trust me, which is odd because, honest to God, and I know most people may or may not, but like, I've literally never cheated on anyone in my life. I've never even kissed a girl when I was dating someone else. When I'm single, oh shit, I'd be a little whore. I don't really care. Yeah. But when I'm with someone, I'm with them, But I've been in, like I was saying, I've been in relationships where where there's no trust, and then I've been in relationships where there's total trust, and you can be like, hey girl, go on to the club with your girlfriends and have some drinks and dance your ass off because that woman's coming straight home. Dude, there's nothing more empowering to a woman, dude. That girl does not want to cheat on her. My man loves me and trusts me. They know how hard it is to find stuff like that. So they wouldn't leave things like that. But if they've broken that, see, that's the thing. She never broke my trust. You know what I'm saying, for her. So I didn't have any reason to not trust her. And so, and I never broke hers. You know what I'm saying? So she had no reason to not trust me. So that's where it works. When people start breaking the trust and the trust gets lost, there's no saving that. You can't salvage when trust is lost. That's the key. Yeah. And so yeah, you got to be able to trust each other to have friends, like you were saying, and go out and know that they're coming back to you. If you ain't got that, then it ain't worth having. And it ain't. It's nothing. That's just
abusive people are
Dr. Scoop Dick's answers.
Yeah. Well, abusive people are insecure. That's one way to know if someone has abusive tendencies. If they felt secure about themselves, they wouldn't be abusive emotionally, physically, or whatever. Movie Raging Bull, Jake LaMotta was an insecure guy, and that's why he abused his wife and his brother and everyone else. So.
I hope everybody's got their liquor drinks with them. Yeah.
All right. So our list for this week is the theme is bubbles, and
El Buble.
That's right. I usually go first. So
yes, sir.
My first is from Say
Age
Goodnight
Before
to the
Beauty.
Bad Guys. That's right. Yeah. This is from Say Goodnight to the Bad Guys. It was when Sam came around to get money from somebody. I can't remember who owed him. Maybe it was Randy. I'm not sure. So he comes around with his gun, And at some point, Ricky and Bubbles go into Bubbles' shed, and Ricky goes, "What's that smell?" And I smell, and Bubbles goes, "It's Sam." I know that was one of the.
Oh, that's such good stuff, man. Go ahead, keep going.
Another good Ricky moment from that episode, just as an aside, was Sam demanded he give him his sandwich. He said, "I'm not going to give you my fucking sandwich." All right.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, it's from early. You know, once again, this is hard. Like, there's so many funny things, man. And it's like when I had my list and my list was done, I kept watching some videos and episodes and clips, and and it's like there was still I wanted to keep adding more things, and I'm like, no, I got plenty.
Yeah.
I got
He's
5.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great, dude. I was like, I got 5 good ones, and I got some honorable mentions. It's like, I don't need to keep making more. When I come out here, here's my top 500 Bubbles moments, guys. Like.
Yeah.
So,
could have done.
I totally could have, But anyway, here it is. My number 5 is early. I'm real partial to early Bubbles. Like, I love season 1, season 2, even season 3. But season 3, you started to see the change. Season 4, Bubbles' character is completely different. He was very different than he was in the first ones. They wanted to make him more of a full-time character because his popularity bloomed in the original seasons. He was supposed to be just a side character, if you remember. But it bloomed, and then they wanted to make more comical. Anyway, what?
Did you see the Cart Boy movie?
Oh, the Cart Boy? I love that. Yeah, anyone who hasn't seen Cart Boy, go on YouTube. It's on there. Type in the Cart Boy. You get to see a lot of things. You get to see Bubbles' character originally, which is the Cart Boy, who they based the character on. You get to see the cat, who is actually Vince the Pince, who my cat's named after, but who's the one with the pincer. It's real life cat. You're right, buddy. But that is in the song "Kitties Are So Nice." But anyway, the cat's name is Bubbles in that thing, and that's where they got the name Bubbles. And Cart Boy is great. But you get to, Ricky, I believe, plays Ricky. Is his or something, I can't remember, but then or Julian plays Julian. No, Julian plays, I can't remember what his name is, but they're the mall cops, and they basically harass the Cart Boy and stuff. You've seen it, but and I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't. So if you haven't, go watch it. It's really good. It's it shows you who the characters were. They kind of, you could see how John Paul's character drinks a bit on the job. Ricky's character is almost like he's kind of a good guy, but kind of like an asshole. Like, they talk about, I don't know. You guys just got to watch it if you haven't seen it. But anyway, yes, I have seen Cart Boy, to answer your question.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I never even told you what it was. We're still out. Okay. Number 5. I'm stoned right now, guys. Leave me alone. I'm sorry. But anyway, so early stuff. It's one of the early episodes when I think it's in season 1. I'm pretty sure it's season 1. Ricky's sleeping in his car, and he's got the weed plant, and he's got the kitty. And Bubbles comes over to get his cat back, and Ricky's complaining because the squirrel's peed in his plant. That's why it's dead. And Julian's like, "Fucking Ricky, give him his cat." And he's like, "No, I don't want it." And then Bubbles goes, "Here's what I know, Ricky. If you love something, let it go. If it comes back, you own it. If it doesn't, you don't. And if it doesn't, you're an asshole, just like you." Yeah, you're an arsehole, just like you. And I love it because
they say the word arse a lot down in Nova Scotia. They say ass too, but arse has always been popular for profanity down there. So it's a very Scotia kind of thing. Yeah.
There's a few places around. I don't really know where, but I've known people who say arse. It's kind of a nicer way. I don't know. It doesn't sound as vulgar as ass for some reason, does it? Arse?
Yeah, arse. Not as much. Yeah. There's
stick it up your ass. Stick it up your arse.
Stick it up your
arse. I feel kind of like a pirate. Arse. Stick it up your arse.
Well, you can say that on network television. I don't think they ever banned that word.
Really?
So.
Really? So we can say arse all day.
Interesting, because George Carlin. I don't think George Carlin ever included that in his like 7 dirty words that you can't use on television, but yeah, I guess that's safe to use on TV. So,
Nice.
all right, my next one is this is actually both a good Ray moment and a good Bubbles moment. Ray is ripping the plumbing out of his wall to sell as scrap metal for liquor money, and Bubbles is like, Ray, ripping the plumbing out of your walls for liquor money is fucked. And I love how Ray's just like acting like it's the most normal thing in the world. It's like, no, it's okay,
No,
buddy.
it's not, man. It's fine.
Oh, runner up to that. There's also a kind of a runner up to that is another moment where Ray tried to justify like dishonest behavior or bad behavior. Was Ricky was telling Bubbles how much money he and Ray were making from the recycling things, the bottles and all that, and yeah, Ray says we made like $75 last week or something like that, and or $70 was it?
$70,
and he goes,
yeah.
and he says $70 each, and Ricky's like, no, $30 each, and Bubbles goes to Ray. Ray, that doesn't add up, and Ray just goes,
Moving along, Bubs. Moving on, Bubs.
Yeah, don't tell Ricky I lied to him. Yeah. He and Ricky are constantly lying to each other and stealing from each other. It's
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure.
like when Ricky put the 2 cigarettes in his pocket while he's sleeping, or no, 4 cigarettes.
Yeah, he
took
put a bunch, and then he took a couple back.
Yeah, that was funny. All right, what's your next Bubbles item?
Okay, mine now. Number 4. All right, it's the one where they're driving the trailer of weed, and Bubbles is driving. They're in the police chase, and he's driving, and he's like, "Oh, is that a kitty in the road?" And he fucking swerves and crashes crashes the weed, and then they get out, and remember they're fucking running, and then Bubbles gets tangled up in that wire, and then fucking cops roll up and bust him, and like they starts pretending he's just some farmer, like some blind farmer, like, what's going on here? I can't even fucking see, you know, and then. And then the part that leads up to it is, and then Ricky and he's just a farmer that came out to help us. We heard the crash, like we crashed, and then Bubbles is over there by the cow and has the cops fucking pull away these out of the cow and whispers, "Pretend like you know me," to the fucking cow.
Well, hey, Ricky talks to animals. He screams at them and shoots them and
right?
gets angry. Dogs for barking.
I told you the story about the time I got really drunk off a whole bunch of vodka and then got in an argument with a bull out in the middle of a field in Napa and Southern's Crossing.
Shit.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy, man. And then my friend, I can't remember if my buddy Eno or my buddy Chris, they were both with me. And somebody else was with us too. And we had a couple handles of vodka, bro. Dirty, dirty shit to drink. But we got in some sort of tiss. I kind of remember that, and I grabbed fucking one of the handles of vodka and just took off walking. And they said like 20, 30 minutes later they could hear me just like off in the distance, fuck yeah, or whatever, right? I'm just in there talking, and they kind of go for a little walk, and then that's when they see me. All I did was go across the like little creekway and through a fence and like out into this pasture field, and there was just this. I don't know. Once again, it's like the piranha, bro. I'm telling you, it's like. They don't fucking, like, when I'm liquored up or so, it's like the liquor figures it out. It totally protects me or something. Because, like, this fucking bull was just like...
You mean like Jim Leahy, you let the liquor do the thinking? The liquor figured it out.
But it's like, it protects me. Like, you know, it's like the liquor bubble of protection, man. This bull did not attack me. It just sat there, like, staring at me. And, like, my buddies were able to get my attention and, like, convinced me, like, hey, come here, you know, and I ended up stumbling back over to the fence, and because I was out in this field, like, hey, bull, like, fucking whatever, bull, you know.
That takes balls, man.
Yeah, dude. You know, or
most farm-related deaths are due to angry bulls. You know, almost every time a farmer dies, like by something other than old age. It's a bull going crazy. So, I mean, you can't put more than one bull. You can't put 2 bulls together in the same pasture. They'll fucking kill each other, especially if there's females around.
Oh yeah, that was my problem, dude. I was in there and there was another bull there.
Oh, that's that's what it was.
That's what it was,
Competition.
bro. That's right. Yeah. It's like,
We,
okay, did you hear the one about the old bull and the young bull, and they're sitting up on the hill, and the young bull's looking down at all the cows, and he's like, like Dad, we should run down there and fuck all them cows real fast, or no, fuck one of them cows real fast, and Dad goes, no, son, we should take our time, walk down there real slow, and fuck them all.
bulls live a really great life actually, because just their whole life they just eat and they throw in females, and the bull fucks them when he gets around to it.
Yeah.
That's bull's whole life, man. And if
It's
you
kind of
fuck
like
with
a
them,
lion's life. Just they don't have to
eh,
fight so much.
the only thing is when female lions are in heat, like they can go like 12 hours, and the male lions can't keep up with it. You ever seen those pictures of male lions where they're like exhausted and shit?
Really?
Yeah, the female lions will like bite on their testicles to get them to go again, but it's like they just like like a male human, we
Well, then
can't just fuck for 12 hours. I mean,
oh, I mean that depends, I guess. Depends on how much I like them.
well, I mean, if you smoke some
Yeah.
weed, maybe you can go for longer. If you put cocaine on it, which is not a
Vicodin,
good idea.
Vicodin always did
Vicodin,
that.
eh?
Bro. Yeah, for some reason, bro, I can't bust when I'm on the bike, bro. I just keep going. Can't. I don't know why. Pop a couple Vikes and it's like, I mean, I don't need Viagra to get it up, so like I never. But it's like I can rock, dude, and just keep going. It's weird. And you're not like, you don't get whiskey dick or nothing, man. At least I never did. Whiskey dick is, right? It's where you get too drunk and you can't get it up.
Too drunk to fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a Dead Kennedy song. All right,
Yeah.
my next item on the Bubbles list. This is from season 12. Remember when those kids called him a nerd, and he got really insecure to asking everyone if he was a nerd, and so if at some point he started wearing this like rock and roll gear, like a bandana on his head and a leather jacket and all that shit. And I can't remember what the context of the scene was, but at some point he started singing Rebel Yell by Billy Idol, but no one else was into it. No, no, no. That's hilarious. Yeah.
I think, it's funny. I'm just going to go ahead and mention it now because one of my honorable mentions I had written down is, I think, from the same time as that. Because I swear, when I was watching the episode earlier, I swear it was one of the ones, because I kind of skipped around, grabbing a couple out of each season, so I knew if I just sat there and right in the beginning, I'd probably write down 5 moments and just never leave the first couple episodes of season 1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but anyway, I think it might be just before we started wearing the leather, because he wasn't wearing the leather, but he starts acting all hard, and he goes into the Julian's bar, and fucking he gets all up in J-Rock's face. He's like ready to kick his ass, and then he goes around the fucking behind the bar. Julian, we're doing. Remember, him and Ricky decide they're gonna do jobs with him, and then J-Rock's like, well, fine, me and T are doing jobs with you, and then Julian, and then Bubbles is all, pour some drinks. He's acting hella hard with everybody. Pours, because he was called a nerd. And then remember, he went to Ricky and was like, dude, do I? And Ricky's like, yeah, you kind of look like one. I mean, you're not one, but you look like one, And then Bubbles is getting all fucking pissed. He's like, that's the qualification to be a nerd, is you have to look like a nerd. That's it. Which I disagree with. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot more to being a nerd than just looks. Just like, I mean, like look at me, dude. I got tattoos and been to all kinds of trouble and hoodlumry and rebel yell type stuff. But
You're more
I love,
neck.
yeah, but I love video games and sci-fi, and I play Magic the Gathering with my son sometimes, and you know what I'm saying, fantasy fairy tale shit like Star Trek. I dig Star Wars. Like I dig all Marvel comics. I always classify myself as like a nerd with tattoos that'll headbutt you in the face. I'm a full contact nerd.
Well, that stuff isn't quite the domain of nerddom like it once was. Are you more of a Star Wars person or more of a Star Trek person?
I think Star Wars is probably cooler for sure.
You can get away. If you're Star Wars buff, you're less likely to be considered a nerd than if you're into Star Trek.
But I got a special place for Star Trek because I used to watch Next Generation with my grandpa after school before I went out and fucked off and partied in my high school years. And now that my grandpa's gone, you know, like uh, I enjoy having those memories of kicking back with my pops and just chilling and watching Star Trek and grubbing down some sandwiches or whatever and just hanging out for an hour or two and then, you know, and do that every day. So it was cool. So I like Star Trek. I like Star Trek. The original Star Trek was pretty cool. Captain Kirk was a pimp, bro. That dude was banging space aliens all over the fucking universe, man.
Green with yeah.
Every blue, red, orange, bro. Dude, Captain Kirk was banging chicks all over the universe. I watched the entire series just a couple months ago. Like I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch the entire Star Trek universe, and I started. I made it through fucking Enterprise, through the first two seasons of Discovery, because the third season wasn't out yet. Plus, they jump into the future. Oh yeah, dude. I watched fucking what else, dude? There's another one before that. Then I watched the original, and then I got about halfway through Next Generation, and I kind of fell off. Like it was too. And also,
well, you know something.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, my favorite Star Trek character is Spock, right? I was thinking, so Kirk, in terms of their sexuality, Kirk had it all over him in terms of quantity, but if you figure if a guy's only going to fuck every 7 years, then he's saved up a lot of fucking lust, you know what I mean? So the women that Spock banged must have had a pretty good time. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I don't know. I imagine every time he did it, he was probably like, you know, I'm not going to say a minute man or a one pump chump, but I bet he wasn't going more than 5 or 10 minutes, you know?
Well, yeah, but you know, he used all that logic to maybe he figured out how to really fuck effectively. You know what I mean?
Oh, hold on, like kind of like that. What's that shit called, Morgan? You know, where like you can control your orgasm, and you don't do it. Man, this is why we need a guest or a caller. Oh, which reminds me, we always want guests, man. So if anyone wants to be a guest, please email me at scoobdad.leahy@gmail.com or rectormedia@gmail. You know, yeah. Anyone?
Spock.
Anyway,
Vulcans must have their own. Yeah, the Vulcans must have their own version of the Kama Sutra, and also the thing is they're not unemotional. They have the thing about is they have such strong emotions that if they didn't try to suppress them with logic, they'd be out of control. So I figure when Spock finally banged someone, like he was like an animal, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. Trailer Park Boys definitely seem to be slanted towards Star Wars than Star Trek. Like that scene where Ricky and Leahy kind of did the tribute to like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker when Leahy told him he was his father.
Yeah.
that was in season 12, right?
Tantric. That's what it's called. Yeah. So you mean like yeah, you're right. He's Vulcan. So they probably do that tantric shit, dude. So yeah, you're right. He might be able to control that because he's so like calm and logical. So he's just like, I'm not going to come. And then, well, like, if 8 hours later when she's done.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You have
That's the thing about Tantra. That's the thing about Tantra. It does take hours. Like, you have to make sure you have a lot of free time. But it's like part of it is like the woman, you get massaged on your dick instead of just a blowjob. And it's just like this full body meditation. But you have to have the patience and the time to do it.
I used to kind of do similar like that. Like I just would, after a while when you're getting close, like you just kind of like relax yourself and like kind of slow pause and do other things for a minute and you can calm back down and then you can continue for a little while and then when you get there just kind of
yeah.
It wasn't like tantric, but like, 'cause I wouldn't like, but you totally, gotta keep yourself calm.
Yeah, you and it depends on the chemistry you have with the person too.
Exactly.
That's another issue.
Like I said, depends on how much I'm turned on by them.
Yeah, that's a big factor too.
Did you do your number 3 yet? Your third one?
I just did my number 3. Did you do yours?
Nope, my turn then. All right, so number 3. Okay, so it's when Sam's living in the park and he's got his freaking hot dog garbage everywhere and it's making the kitty sick and Bubbles gets pissed and he goes over there and he fucking shoots Sam in the back of the head with the wrist rocket when he's fucking sitting there trying to eat hot dogs and then he goes over and he's talking like, Sam, you better clean this shit up, you know, and Sam's like, hey, and I'm gonna call animal control and have all your kitties put to sleep. And then Bubbles pulls them fucking nunchucks out and starts like, what, huh? I'll fuck you up. And then
Yeah.
Julian shows up and fucking he was telling him, Sam, you need to clean this shit up now. And then Sam's like, yeah, or what, Julian? And basically, Julian plays his own little version of Would You Rather, and he's like, well, you got two options here, buddy. I mean, you can either clean up the garbage and shit around here, or I could slap the shit out of you in front of Barb. Because remember, Sam's trying to hook up with
Yeah.
Barb when he's first courting her, and then, and then he's like, all right, Julian, I'll clean up. And the Bubbles hella loud goes, yeah, man, because like half an hour ago I saw the kitties and they were fucking licking all over those fucking hot dogs. And Barb's like, what? They were licking these hot dogs? And Bubbles like, yeah, Barb, licking the fucking shit out of them. Or something, licking the shit out of them or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh, that was so
don't
great.
fuck with Bubbles cats. You
That's
fuck
right.
with Bubbles cats, you're asking for trouble. You don't.
Uh,
All right, my next one. This is from high definition piss jugs when they all had their little TV spots with Channel 10. Steve Rogers. How many times does he says his name in that episode? By the way, every time he speaks, I'm Steve Rogers. Anyway, so he comes out of his shed and he didn't know that Ricky had brought all that crap around, and then Ricky tells him that he calls his business garbage land, and Bubbles is like, garbage land. It's funny. Bubbles has a way of clarifying just how funny things are, and just him saying it out loud made it seem funnier. Because Ricky's good at rationalizing things, but Bubbles brought objectivity to that and how hilarious it was. So just
Very
him saying
true.
garbage land, I always laugh when he says that. Yeah. And what's your number
Uh,
four?
that's fucking great. Okay. Well, before I say my last two, because they're like number two was my favorite one, was my number one until I remembered something, which I'll tell you in a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you my other honorable mentions real quick, just to get them out of the way. I already told you the one about when he started acting all ruck or all tough with J Rock and Julian and shit. Uh, Oh yeah, that's right. When he tells Julian to pour the liquor, and then fucking Julian's like, "Got any money?" He's like, "Put it on my tab." You know, he's fucking acting all tough with him. But
Yeah.
anyway, number three. Every time Bubbles gets in a gunfight, it fucking kills me every time. Like in the store, we're shooting down the hall with the fucking Uzi when it was supposed to be Ricky's wedding, and they're stealing the stuff. And he's supposed to be drunk, passed out, and he's like, and Ricky's like, or Bubbles, are you kidding me? You could have killed him. He's like, the gun's broken, Ricky. The gun's broken. He's fucking down there just shooting, or I hate getting in gunfights, so I shoot up over their heads nice and high, and I mean, as long as they see the flesh coming out of the muzzle, and you got a mean look on your face, like he's always got the Uzi, man. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Number two, the Bubbles rap at Microphone Assassin. I freaking love that. It kills me. I
Yeah.
mean,
Should
I
have
even got
recorded it.
I know, right? I even got the T-shirt I roll that says it's got Bubbles on it, and it's got Vince the Prince and another one or two of his kitties on it, and it says I roll with my kitties on the top of, and I'm hard as fuck on the bottom. Trust me, when we get to the point where we ever start doing video, like I'll start wearing some of my shirts and shit, and you guys will see it. Like I got Trailer Park Boy stuff, man. And but anyway, I love it. Love that shirt. It's fucking hilarious. Number one is my other old Bubbles moment and fucking it's right after the thing with the kitty about pissing in the squirrels, or squirrels pissing in it, and he wants to protect his plant, and Ricky's sitting in the car at the broken door side, sitting out talking to the camera like he's talking to the camera crew being interviewed, and all of a sudden, he's like, "Get off my property, Bubbles!" And you hear Bubbles from off camera go fuck yourself, Ricky.
Fuck yourself, Ricky.
Yeah, and then they start acting like they're fighting, and Bubbles has got his fist all up in the air like he does, and all of a sudden you just hear him go, "Fucking want one?" That shit kills me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
So
right.
my number two moment. Here it is. My number two moment. This is what we're talking about here. Is in season 3, when the Bible pimp is coming around, and it's the very beginning. It's the way it opens. As we know, it's one of my favorite moments in anything of Trailer Park Boys, and it's when they come walking up. And it's him and she's like, well, have you ever read the Bible? And he goes, Bubbles is like, that depends. And fucking the priest is like, can you read, my son? And fucking Bubbles goes, that depends. Can you go fuck yourself?
That was a good one. It's a
That
classic.
shit kills me, bro. That depends. Can you go fuck yourself? I want a shirt that just says just that. That depends. Can you go fuck yourself? My one made, I think. That's just hilarious.
And before I get to my number one, as an aside, you mentioned the music earlier. If you've the soundtrack to the first Trailer Park movies is on most streaming services, and it has Liquor and Whores on it, and it has a J-Rock song on it, so that's pretty cool if you want to check that out.
For sure. Sure.
My number one actually involves nunchucks, but it's a different scene. It was in one of the movies. I think it might have been the first one. So Leahy gets crazy drunk and he drives his car into Bubbles' shed and just demolishes it. And the next morning, Ricky discovers his shed. It's just reduced to kindling. And at first, he doesn't know who did it, but then he sees the liquor bottle. And you see this look of rage and spite in his eyes. And
that music starts playing.
Yeah. I saw that in the theater, man. Everyone went wild. It was a really cool
moment. Oh, dude. I'm so jealous of that. Oh,
yeah, I saw all 3 of those movies. Oh, and that, as a one runner-up, actually, I think it's from that same movie. He met that chick at the veterinary office, and one of my biggest disappointments in terms of the series
is they've done nothing with her.
That's it. We never heard from her again. We just never saw her again. I thought, Bubbles is getting some pussy, but she just well, I guess then again, maybe it would have ruined the storyline because ultimately she wouldn't want to live in a shed the rest of her life. So he would have had to leave the park, I guess, or maybe get a trailer. But
well, it could have been like Susan or the first Candy, not season 10 Candy. Or freaking Officer, what's her face? What's her face? The cop Julian was dating. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, Erica, Officer Erica. Like, they've had girlfriends come and go, and so why couldn't Bubbles? This girl can be his girlfriend for a minute, and then if the character they decide ends up not wanting to, but then again, who knows? She seemed like a girl who would really like Bubbles regardless. And, it doesn't mean Bubbles couldn't expand and build a bigger shed. And get like a double wide bunk bed with like 2 queen sizes.
They both love animals. They both love cats, so yeah.
Right? You're right. I agree. Bubbles, I've wanted to see that too. Bubs get a little romantic thing for a minute, get his spot in the light. It's funny that you mentioned that number one was that nunchuck, because that is I debated over the 2 so much, which one, because they both were in my mind. But anyway, my number one moment, and it's funny that you mentioned the soundtrack, Liquor and Whores and whatnot. My number one moment isn't even from anyone, and this might be cheating, I don't know, but it isn't from any of the seasons or shows or anything or series. It's from a show. It's from when I went and saw him live, and with my buddy Kevin, who's an asshole and never answers the phone or wants to be on the show like an idiot. And then my lovely
You're saying I was looking for seeing the movie in the theater, but you can still see the movie. I can't go and see the show you saw. So there you go.
That's true.
You got to see Leahy live. I'll never get to see him live.
I didn't get to see him live. When we bought the tickets, we bought the tickets for the Christmas special, and Leahy was still alive, and we were supposed to. It was supposed to be a Christmas. Elf Randy, Christmas Santa Leahy, and the boys, and they were going to do the Christmas stuff. Just like the Christmas special, Dear Santa, Go Fuck Yourself. They do all that. Bubbles was going to sing Dear Santa Claus, Go Fuck Yourself, and all that. But Leahy passed, or John passed, I should say, and they postponed the show. And then that following April, they did the show again, but it wasn't Christmas anymore, and Leahy was gone. So they just did a regular one. It was just called a fucked up night with the Trailer Park Boys, featuring Randy, and yeah. Anyway, it was still a total blast. And then George Green showed up, and I started a fuck George Green chant, and I truly started it. And my buddy Kevin never got on here with us. He could verify this to you, but he showed me a link, man. He found it on YouTube. There was a link they were watching, and you could actually hear the camera was like 2 rows in front or behind me or in front of me, something like that, and you can physically hear me screaming all the time. And trust me, anyone who knows my voice, and anyone who listens to the show, you probably know my voice by now. So trust me, you'll be able to tell me if I knew what the hell the link was and where it was. I'd find it, I'd share it. But anyway. It's when I got to watch them live, and I watched Bubbles perform Who's Got Your Belly and Liquor and Whores. And those are the 2 songs he performed at the show. And I really wish he did Kitties Are So Nice also. He might have. I don't remember that he did. I was really drunk and stoned. But I do remember Who's Got Your Belly, and I do remember Liquor and Whores. And, I mean, it was fucking, this is something I'll never forget, even though I forgot like half the night and shit, you know. Yeah. I was in and out of it, dude. Like I kept I like all of a sudden I'd be back, and then fucking we'd hammer something or smoke some more weed or have a few more drinks, and then like I'm fucking gone for another 20 minutes, and I'm back again for another 20-30 minutes, and I'm fucking like and people go, man, that's like that's not how you not have a good. I said, no, if you completely black out and you miss everything, then yeah, that's not a good time. And if you're totally too sober, yeah, that's not a good time. When you're teetering on that and you're in and out of that fucking blackout, you remember shit, then you don't, then you do, that's how you know you had a good time.
You know, I would see it sober. Like I never, well, I remember I used to really dislike being stoned in public because I'd be paranoid that someone would pick up on. Now it doesn't matter this, but still, I don't know what it is. I just prefer just to lay back. I mean, to go walk the street. And also, if you're stoned and you're in a store that sells food, you're just gonna buy tons of junk. And for me, that would mean like shit with sugar in it, which is a really bad idea because I have diabetes. So yeah, stoned shopping is a bad idea because you're gonna spend tons of money on shit you'd probably regret, right?
Well, you got like freaking diabetic candy and munchies you can eat and shit, right? I know some
suck. Well, they haven't got the chocolate right. The chocolate sucks. It's just good chocolate kind of lingers a little bit. It's got a creamy texture when you eat it, whereas diabetic chocolate just crumbles and it's hardly got any flavor. They need to invent like a kind of sugar. Yeah, like they need to invent fake sugar that has the same texture as real sugar, and when melted or blended has the same effect as regular sugar, because they can, like, there are these Russell Stover no sugar hard candies. They don't taste they taste pretty much as good as regular hard candies, and Lifesavers has the same thing, and they taste as good as regular Lifesavers, but as chocolate goes, totally sucks. Same thing with the zero sugar ice cream. You try to make a float, you just end up with all these ice crystals. It really sucks. So yeah, that's a big letdown. So ultimately, I end up buying like chocolate bars or regular ice cream. So, and that's not a good idea.
Yeah, you eat too much sugar, it can like kill you if you're diabetic or something, can it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on how long. Well, I mean, I'm doing
like how much you have, right? Yeah.
I'm on insulin. If I injected that before I did it, and as long as I didn't eat sugar too often, I guess it's okay. But do it all the time, it'd be disastrous because my pancreas is pretty much useless to me at this point. So.
Wow.
Anyway, on to more cheerful things. We were doing random thoughts again this week. And I came up with both like totally random thoughts, but also Trailer Park Boys related thoughts. And I was telling you earlier that I had a thought while stoned last night, and I forgot about it because I didn't take it down, but I actually remembered it. So here it goes. I was thinking about, here's the thing, right? I figured out who the most powerful person in Sunnyvale really is. It's not Barb Leahy. It wasn't Jim Leahy when he was still there. Definitely wasn't Randy. The most powerful person is Ricky because when you think about it, first of all, it's totally illegal for him to be there. He's a squatter. He doesn't pay lot fees. He refuses to pay lot fees. He refuses to leave. The cops can't get rid of him. Leahy couldn't get rid of him except for when he went to jail, but he'd come back. Barb couldn't get rid of him. He stays there anyway, and they can't get him out. So I figure like he's almost untouchable, right? Like Leahy had to get him in legal trouble to remove him from the park. Otherwise, he was a fixture there. So I really think Ricky's the most powerful person in the park because of how he intimidates people and yet not only does he refuse to lead, but he commits every kind of crime imaginable, shooting guns and growing dope and shit. And yeah, they just can't stop him. Set up an actual store to sell weed when it was still legal. So yeah, I think he's the most powerful person in the park.
I can see your logic in that. I really can. I don't know if I would say I totally agree. I would say he's like, yeah, your points too are very valid, but that he's more of the most free person at the park. Because I wouldn't say he has more power though, because like you said, Jim can call the cops and they can arrest him. Like he can't really do. I mean, he could try to call the cops, but they really wouldn't listen to him.
Well, one way he's in a disadvantage, though, is that to get someone arrested, there has to be evidence, and he didn't always have the evidence. Whereas Ricky was an outlaw.
True.
Ricky's powers kind of illegitimate, but he was willing to do things that the cops couldn't always arrest him because they didn't always have the evidence. So Leahy, because he was reliant upon that,
I would almost
take him down.
But I would almost say that the most powerful in the park is probably Julian, because he is the one that is the leader of the park. He's like the daddy of the park. He's the one that makes all the decisions. He's big brother. He's uncle. He's boss. He makes the decisions for everybody in the park. He's the one that takes care of the park. He's the one that worries about purchasing the park. If anything, Ricky's his battering ram that fucking punches his plan into place. You get what I'm saying? Like he's the thing that he's what in the joint in prison you call the torpedo. Ricky's the torpedo. He's the one you send on the mission. You know what I'm saying?
But he has to entice Ricky to play by the rules, though. If they're
not always. If you remember, Ricky's even said it a few times. He's fucked up without Julian because he can't think for himself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, Ricky's an enforcer for sure. Yeah.
For sure, he's the enforcer. Or if it was a bike club, or like a regular office or something, he'd be, office club or whatever, he'd be the sergeant at arms. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, well, you have to hand it to the writers of the show. I mean, they figure it's funny because Leahy and Randy are presented as the enemies, but when you think about it, they're actually right. Like from a legal standpoint, Ricky is not supposed to be there. He's not supposed to grow dough. He's not supposed to shoot guns. I mean, everything that they show up to bust him for, they have every right to do it. And yet he's like, fuck off. He's just telling them off and pushing Randy around and shit. And we buy into it. You're like, yeah, get the fuck away from him.
Just because he's a crazy drunk bastard, you're like, well, fuck Larry. Yeah, get out of here, Larry. But and it's shot from the boys' point of view, so they're the protagonists. You know what I'm saying? It's just like other shows you see. I don't want to talk about other shows too much because that's not what we're here to do. But depending on what point of view, You know, it's like, okay, like The Walking Dead. If it was shot from Negan's point of view the whole time, Rick and that gang would be the bad guys because they're doing the same shit as Negan's crews. I don't know if you ever watch Walking Dead. You know, they're doing the same shit. So same thing here. You know, it's like the boys are crazy fucking bastards too. And if it was shot from Leahy and Randy as they were the good guy point of view, and it was the boys were the crazy bastards, this whole, which they are. You know, or at least Ricky is. You know, Ricky easily could have been the ones that we're rooting against, you know, if it was just turned around a little bit, you know. If Corey and Trevor were the main characters to start with, and it was shot from their point of view, we would have probably thought Ricky and them as bullies, you know.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, I was also thinking about this thing last night too, about Lucy, and I know you hate Lucy, but I was thinking about how, if you look at her relationship with Ricky from her point of view, or better yet, imagine if you were like her father and you found out about Ricky and you found out he's unemployed, he just sells and grows and sells dope, lives in a shitty old car with a door missing. Like you totally understand why she wouldn't want to go out with him, but yet because the show presents everything from his point of view, we see her as like materialistic and demanding and kind of a mercenary. But I guess isn't she kind of right when you think about it? You can't raise your daughter in a fucking car, right? But he thinks it's totally okay, and we're okay because we like him. It seems okay to us. But you wouldn't want a kid to grow up in a car, right?
No, I mean you wouldn't want them to, but uh, I mean, what's the difference from going long-term camping?
Yeah, it's a perspective
But
thing.
you don't
Well, it's
really
funny
want
because that
a
movie.
kid. Yeah, you're right. I mean, when I was a little guy, my mom was homeless for a while, and we lived in a tent when I was real little. So I have been homeless as a child. And honestly, I mean, it wasn't forever. And so, I mean, I don't, like, when I look back at it, like, it wasn't bad. It was just like camping for a really, really long time. You know, it was months. Uh, but, you know, but you're right, totally. We wouldn't want to do that. Like, I wouldn't want my 14-year-old son to like live with me in a tent somewhere. But
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily have to be bad.
No,
You know,
no.
if it's if it's
Well, it's like
positive, it's fun. Go ahead.
when that movie came out that Will Smith starred in, The Pursuit of Happiness,
Right.
based on a true story about a guy who was homeless with his little son, and nobody criticized that guy, saying, "Oh, he was homeless with a child." So I guess it's all perspective, right? The way you present it.
True, true. And I will admit that being homeless in the city is a little rougher than like, well, I mean, not necessarily, but like if you can find a spot, it doesn't have to be as rough as people make it. You know what I'm saying? Like I've tried to explain it, like I've done it. You've heard me tell the story. If you can find a spot where you can set up a camp and you know how you're setting up camp, like the ones I had, you come out there, man. I had guest tents, I had carpet outside, I had tarped off in the trees, so roofs, so it was dry during the rain. Shopping cart barbecues, homemade showers built out of water bottles, built in enclosed shower areas where we made false tree walls. I know how to make false tree walls so you can't see. So from as you drive by the road, it just looks like bushes where the path, you know, instead of nothing, you know. I mean, all this stuff is possible. You can have power out there if you can get a generator. It ain't much for a gallon of gas for and have a generator running. But if that's too noisy, like you can run power off car batteries. You can get 4 or 6 car batteries. Get plug. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. Like being homeless there's ways to wash your clothes. There's ways to take showers. There's ways to eat food and cook. You know, like
Yeah.
there's ways to do all this stuff if you're resourceful enough or willing enough to do it all. It doesn't have to be rough. Like it sucks. You know, you may not feel as clean as you want to. You may not be totally fed at times, but it doesn't have to be horrible. But it does make it rough when you're in places where cops and other things want to kick you out all the time and tear your shit down and all that stuff, and other people want to come through and f your stuff up. And I can't believe I just censored my f word. What the fuck? And but you get my point. But yeah, fucking.
All right.
Anyway,
So
yeah,
how many random thoughts do you have? I have four.
I have 6, but I
Six.
mean, I don't have to do them all, you know.
Okay, we'll do that for each for
We'll
this
do it.
week.
Yeah,
You can.
we'll do how
Okay,
many?
so
You
what's
said?
yours?
How many you said? Do how many?
Yeah, I have 4. How about you do 4, and you can save your other 2 for next week, and
All right,
we can do.
let me see here. Let me see here. What can we do? What's like probably my least good one here? Okay, here's one that could pop in my head earlier. Like, what would it be like if we had pogo sticks for legs?
What's this for legs? Let
Yeah.
me see. That could be practical. That could help.
Kaboom.
Like
I mean, it could, right? Kaboom, kaboom. It'd always be like moonwalking and shit, but like on Earth.
you'd be the greatest volleyball player around, the greatest basketball player
Uh,
around.
for sure.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like you'd be slam dunking all over the place, man.
I mean, could you imagine, LeBron or Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan on some fucking pogo legs, bro? Larry
I mean,
Bird
they're
on some
all
pogo legs?
man.
You'd have to have 35-foot basketball hoops. You know what I'm saying? That'd be
Or
way.
there was this guy who once played for the NBA named Manute Bol. He was like 8 foot
Yes.
tall, gigantic.
Yes. Manute Bol.
Imagine if he had pogo sticks for legs. Holy, he wouldn't have had to reach for the net. He would have just, put it in there, just dunk it, just walk up to the net and dunk it. That would have been it. Instant
If
indoors.
I remember correctly, he didn't have to jump. He was
He
able
didn't.
to reach up. Yeah, he was able to reach up and grab the rim if he was right underneath it.
Well, he's from this part of Africa. It's not a big place, but apparently everyone from this region is like 8 feet tall. There's this, it's one area of Africa, and he's like the only guy I think who got to play in the NBA. Because ultimately, I mean, it's not enough just to be tall. You still have to be a good player, and
Oh yeah,
lots
for
of tall
sure.
guys weren't that good. So, all right. So my next one is actually another Trailer Park Boys themed thought. We So yeah, I got my air fryer this week and it's going pretty well. I cooked some wings tonight. I cooked fried chicken and it's really good. Everything comes out nice and juicy, but not greasy. And I was thinking that would be ideal for Ricky because he likes all these like fast convenience foods.
If he
Have
had
you
an air
had?
fryer.
Yeah, have you had chicken fingers in an air fryer?
Yeah, I put chicken fingers in it all the time. Tater tots, corn dogs, burritos. I've made fried chicken in there.
And that's what I made tonight.
I've done cheeseburgers in there in my air fryer. Man, I'm telling you, the air fryer's the way to go. Anyone out there, go get it.
Do you have the
You know?
chicken fingers? Were the chicken fingers juicier in an air fryer?
Yeah, I like them. I like them. Yeah, the fried chicken wasn't so much because you need fried. I mean, and it told. No, actually, let me rephrase that. It was juicy. It's just the breading on the outside wasn't the same. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't fried. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely drier.
Next
Definitely.
time I'm going to cook it a little longer than the recommended directions, maybe like 5 minutes more because it was cooked all the way through, but some parts of it could have been cooked a little more. You know what I'm saying? There's that
For sure.
danger zone where it's like cooked, but then there's a couple parts that seem like they could give you salmonella poisoning, which I don't have, but it's how it is with chicken, right? So
For sure.
yeah,
All right. Let's see here. Okay. Have you ever wondered? Let me rephrase it this way. Okay. Where does olive oil come from?
the olive
Okay.
tree or the
Oh,
olive,
well,
yeah.
olives, right? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
olives.
olives.
All right. Where does corn oil come from?
Corn. Yeah.
From corn, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. These aren't trick questions, but these aren't trick questions. Okay. So then, have you ever wondered where baby oil comes from?
Maybe
I
we
mean,
don't want to know. I don't know. Well, I guess they just found like, well, it's appropriate for babies because there is a whole range of products that are there's baby shampoo. They hopefully didn't make it out of babies, but
right? It's like, is there somewhere they squeezing and pressing babies making oil?
yeah, baby food. Hopefully that's not cannibalism there, but
Well, maybe that's where the saying "you are what you eat" came from.
yeah, maybe. Right, my last thought was if time travel is ever invented, I'm going to go travel back to the moment when a future crack horse says, "I don't just give it away to anybody." just to show, get it on video, and then like show her, because I think I told you before I was watching like this crack horror porn where a guy takes his phone, I guess, with him and takes video of these crack whores and meth whores giving them blowjobs and having sex with them and stuff. And it's not fake, man. I'm convinced, unless he has like
Right.
unless he's hired somebody who does makeup for special effects for the movies, but they look like real authentic horrors, man. It's like this one girl had the body of like a 27-year-old but the face of a 70-year-old. That's a meth addict. So
I love how you say real authentic horrors, because it reminds me of this little joke I love always doing, like when you see the moms with their Girl Scouts out there selling the Girl Scout cookies, or they come to the door, you get the Girl Scout cookies, but we're all together with the girls, and you just look at them, ask them, more, are they made out of real Girl Scouts?
real girls.
Yeah,
watch them.
I like my yeah. Okay. All right, my third one here. Random thought is, okay, if someone with multiple personality disorder threatens to kill themselves, is it a hostage situation?
Either that or a homicide if they follow through with it. But yeah, maybe it is.
I mean, they got multiple personalities, so if they're threatening to kill themselves, and they got multiple personalities, I mean, which one of them is getting killed? Is it a hostage situation?
You know what? Maybe we should give cops authorization to use tranquilizer darts. Just shoot one of those at someone who's going crazy, and in a couple seconds they just fall asleep, and then you just collect them and no harm done, and they wake up later and it's all taken care of. Like like they do with wild animals and shit.
I mean, that might work, but I'm pretty sure it does. They don't like there's no like you don't fall asleep like that happens in TV. Like it takes a few minutes for that shit to kick in.
They have to move around.
And
well, I mean,
when there's a serious attacker, like if someone's coming with you with a knife and they're inches from your face or whatever, like they can still do a lot of damage in the time it would take for them to go out.
True. Yeah, but I mean, if it's cops, right? I mean, they can fend them off for a while, but if you've got that in your system and you like run around a little bit, and if your heart's beating fast and you're like anxious and all that shit's going to be in play. If you're just manic, like you're just crazy, like you're threatening to kill people or kill yourself, the tranquilizer will kick in pretty quickly.
That's true. Yeah, the more your blood circulates, you're definitely moving things around for sure.
Yeah, and they could administer it in different doses. Like maybe there's one just not to put you to sleep, but just to make you relax. You know what I mean? So that'd be more humane than just putting you to sleep. But like I was watching a documentary on YouTube yesterday about ADSAG, about isolation in prisons, and these fucking guys, they're just pounding on their doors all day long. They'll like turn on they'll put something in the plug in the sink and flood the floor. They'll cut themselves and like wipe the blood all over the windows so that the COs can't see inside. It's just, and they're just like screaming all night long. And
well, I've been in some ADSEGs before, and that's where they put you for disciplinary issues also. But that's where they put the people who are a bit, what we call JCats. The people that are little got psych issues. They need real help, and they don't play well with others, or they're just weird, or like you said, they smear shit on the walls, or they fucking pull their wieners out, or who knows what, or they're violent. Whatever it is. They need to be ADSEG, administrative segregation. That's what it is. So anyone who just can't be with general population, they put in there. And then once again, like I said, it's for disciplinary too. So you get in trouble doing something stupid, run around with contraband, hooking up with some tobacco or weed, whatever, fucking getting a fight, whatever. You're going to ADSEG too. And the ones that are the crazy ones, they're the ones that got fucking mental issues. Like, yeah, some of them are looped, bro. I've seen some loopy dudes in there because they're locked in tiny boxes with
Oh yeah.
nothing to stimulate. I mean, it fucks with you when you got a strong mind. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been in there, bro, and it fucks with your head for a while. Like when you're in there for 24, 48, 72 hours, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, two, however long. But when they decide to put you in there, because when you go in there, it's never for like an hour. It's you're in trouble or you need to be removed. So get in there for a while. And they put you away for a while. And they serve your food to the door through a slot. Like you don't leave that fucking shit when you're in AdSeg. You do not leave. You get out like I think twice a week to take a shower. And then I think it's also like twice a week they have to give you an hour of yard. And so but you go out into a little box of a yard by yourself, you know. And they got like little rows of boxes and stuff of yards inside another yard somewhere that's for AdSeg. It's kind of like what they do with people on death row in San Quentin. Fucking, they can't go in a yard with anybody else, but they have to give them yards. So they got these little boxes that are like fucking, 15 feet wide or whatever, and like fucking 30, 40 feet long, and it's got chain link on all sides of it, roof and everything, and they can walk up and down them. That's it. That's your yard. That's your life. And then you go back into your little box.
Some of the inmates who were in there were saying, like, I do have mental health problems, but this place made me into a monster, like in terms of acting just crazy and kicking the door and screaming, like being in there for a long time, like months.
Oh, yeah.
That really exacerbated the mental health problems. Yeah.
Well, when you're in there, man, you can't have a book. Fucking nothing, bro. I mean, like, not even a book, dude. And it's like, because they don't know, like, because a lot of times they'll consider it, like, maybe they'll use suicide watch as the excuse, or fucking I saw him tear pages out once or something, or whatever they want to say, that's the excuse they use, But yeah, you don't get none of your amenities. You don't get your store. I didn't get any store. Maybe if you're there for a long, long time, you get store, but I don't think you do. You don't get like a TV like you can in some places. Like, you get none of that shit. You're just in this fucking box, and you're in there with your thoughts, and you got you got a bed, a mattress. That shitty mattress I was telling you about. You got one of those things, and that's about it, bro. And your blankets. That's But if you're on suicide shit, you might not even have that stuff. What they put you in, like, because they think you're a threat to yourself. You don't get a mat, none of that. You just get this like tear-proof smock thing that they put you in, and that's literally it, dude. And you don't necessarily have to be a threat. I mean, usually you are. People they do that with have said or done something to indicate that they might be a threat. But all they have to do is say, hey, that guy's a threat to himself. And so, like, if there's somebody they didn't like and they wanted to fuck with you, they could lock you in there, take all your shit, put you in a smock, let you sit in there for a night or two or whatever they want to do. Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some of them deserve it, but it also seems inhumane for the most part. I mean,
of course.
They're suicidal. There are better ways to deal with that than to throw you into an isolation tank.
True. So. Hey, I'm on the criminal side of most things in my life growing up. But like I've said before, I don't know, I back the blue. Do not defund. We need police. Getting rid of cops, I would love it because then I could do more crimes and not get in more trouble. So let's be real, guys. We don't want that. And yes, not everyone in prison is bad, and I will tell you that. Some good people go there for stupid mistakes. But there are a lot of bad people there that rightfully should be there. So just know that, you know what I'm saying? So I know that it's a fine line. I walk on both sides of it. It's like, if you want to do crime, go ahead, but don't whine about getting busted. If you get busted, do your fucking time, and don't be a douchebag about it, and then you'll go home, and you'll come home. That's it. And then the other thing is, then if you don't like it, then don't do crime. It's that simple, It's like, so I see it from both point of view, but yeah, there are some people that totally deserve to be locked into a little box because they like to wear people's faces as they do little cookie dances. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit exists. There's people who every time they get around people, they want to just stab them. Like that's it. Those people do exist. So
I was wondering how you feel about the Trailer Park Boys depiction of jail, because there's no way that's realistic. They're not going to let you sell potato.
No. I love it. I think it's hilarious. I wish it was real. I mean, I will admit that I have known some, I don't know if I would say corrupt correctional officers because like they're not doing corrupt things, but they kind of are. You know, they're willing to look another way, or they you know, they'll, if they don't see it, you know what I'm saying, then it's not their business. Or if they don't catch you in the act, then they don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Or like, you know, I've had a couple that would, you know, run something to another. I've convinced them to do that a few times. Hey, take this over up to that area for me. I can't go up there, you know. Fucking another yard, you know. Nothing too crazy. It's usually like, you know, like fucking letters and kites and things messages I had to tell other people. There was a couple times I had to send. I did send some tobacco hidden in some in a file once to somebody in the yard. The cop ran it for me, and they actually got it, dude. The cop didn't search the shit, I guess. I don't know.
They get paid
But
shit. Like
yeah,
really lousy
you know,
money considering they're putting
some
lives
of
on the
them do.
line. You know?
I mean, he looked through it and he didn't see it. I had a good little false bottom put in the file. Like it wasn't like a folder. It was like one of those like accordion files. You know, those brown ones that you can kind of pull apart.
Yeah.
It was like one of those, and we had like a very thin false bottom put in there that you could put like a thin, like, so if you had tobacco, weed, or whatever, like you could put a really thin layer of it down in there and put this false bottom back in, and it was like, you know, millimeters thick. But if you put that across the whole bottom of this fucking thing, like, you can put a good amount in there, you know. And so that's the way he did it. That shit would just run around, and dude, ran around with that thing all the time, man, and no one ever caught it, you know. And
Well, some of them have made deals with like gang leaders and whatnot. Yeah, some of them have made deals with like gang leaders and whatnot.
Oh yeah. Well, they say that like
drugs and shit.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely, dude. They say, of course, I don't know. How do you know? It's, you know, they always say statistically or whatever. You know, it's like, you know, whatever. But anyway, they say like 60-70% of all contraband that comes in is brought in by police. And the reason I say whatever is like when people say the statistics, like, well, the only way you can know that statistic actually is if you caught all the contraband. But since the fact that some of it's being consumed by inmates, you're not catching it all, so you can't say that. You know, it's like when they say 1 out of 10 people that shoot somebody fucking or get caught, and the other 9 get away. Well, how do you know that unless those other 9 are being caught? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so that's a bad. That shit doesn't. No, you can't do that. Fake statistics. You know, you get a lot of those out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
Well, on that note, thank you to Ray for doing the show once again, and thank you.
Oh no, fuck, my
all
pleasure.
for listening. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, dude. We love you guys, dude. Fucking know that we love you, and that's just the way she goes.
All right. That is the way she goes. Fuck off. We got work to do.